All right. Hi, Laura. I'm so glad that you made time to come in and see me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a bit of a rough week, but glad to be here.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm excited that you're here too. I know that this is one of your first sessions with me, and I'm just really excited that you've chosen me and that we can work together. Is there anything that has been going on in the background or forefront of your life that is something you want to address today in our session?
I just have a lot of anxiety. I'm a
Okay.
new second time mom, and I just have these two beautiful girls, and they're the light of my life. But I've just really struggled after my second one is only 6 months old, and Piper is her name, and my older one is Hannah. And about 2 months after Piper was born, Hannah got sick, like kids do, but she had a febrile seizure, and it just terrified me. And she's doing
Yeah.
fine, and they're not really worried about her long term. And we took her straight to the ER, and she's great, but just seeing that can happen, I just have not been myself since then. I just can't relax. I can't sleep. I'm so worried
Mm.
that something's going to happen with either of my children and it's going to be my fault. And I don't know. I've just never felt like this before.
Oh, Laura, that's a lot to carry on your heart and in your mind. I'm sure that's affecting you in a lot of different ways. Um, so what does it look like when you start to feel anxious? Is it pervasive? Is it all the time? Or is there something kind of triggering that anxious feeling?
There's a low level of it all the time, but
Okay.
I think anytime something doesn't go according to how I thought it would go, the anxiety begins. And so it could be as simple as Hannah not liking the new food I introduced to her, and then I'm immediately thinking I'm not going to be able to meet her nutritional needs, or it could be something major like Piper slept longer than I thought she should, and I scramble in there making sure she's okay.
So you're kind of catastrophizing your thoughts. Something small might start to kind of spiral into something a little bit bigger than it needs to be. Um, okay, I know that cognitive behavioral therapy is an effective technique for addressing this specifically because we're not just going to try and change your behavior, we're going to try and address those thoughts. Does that feel like something that we can work through together?
It's worth a try, sure. Anything.
Okay, good. All right. One of the techniques I use to get us just some bearings using CBT is an interview that's going to address where your goals are, what we want this change to look like, so we can align what your thought life looks like in terms of what's inspiring your behavior. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what we're looking for, just so I can take your words and reframe them or summarize them for you, what we're looking for in these sessions is to address your anxiety that you're experiencing at a low level all the time, and that can really creep up when you start to encounter something that's not going the way you wanted it to. Okay, so that's what we're hoping we'll accomplish together. So if we were to take your life as it is now with your new 6-month-old daughter and Hannah, what would it look like a year from now if we were successful in therapy? Let's kind of start to get a vision of where our end point might be.
Okay. I think it would be a successful year if by the end of it I was able to just enjoy this time with my
Mm,
children. They won't be young forever, and I want to enjoy each day. It would be great if I was sleeping at night. I think that makes it harder to enjoy them because I'm so exhausted. Um,
absolutely.
and if I, yes, I think that's the main thing I can think of. Mhm.
Okay. And when you think about enjoying your children, does that make you feel anxious? Like it's something you should be doing, or is that just a peaceful thought when you consider enjoying them?
I think it's both. I think I don't want to look back with regret that I didn't enjoy
Mm,
them. I also want them to grow up in a home where they were enjoyed. Um,
Sure.
the thought of actually just relaxing and enjoy them brings me peace.
Oh, I love that thought for you too. And if we could address your thinking and it would produce a better, more adaptive response to something not going your way, is that something that you believe that you can do? Or do you feel like maybe there are hindrances or obstacles or major roadblocks to accomplishing that goal?
I feel like in theory I should be able to do that. I have not figured out how to yet.
Okay. So how likely would you say you would be able to accomplish that goal?
Um, well, I'm just going to choose to be confident. And so I would say 90% this can happen.
That's fantastic. That's a great place to start. I know that that 10% that you're struggling with might feel really big, but I think in cognitive behavioral therapy, our mindset matters so much that if you're coming at this with a 90% hope and confidence, then we've got a lot to work with, Laura. So be encouraged that that's a great place to start. Um, Before I kind of start, I'm still in this information gathering mode. So I want to know, what are some ideas that you have tried to address your anxiety, or what ideas do you think you could try to address your anxiety?
So I tried to ignore it and just keep plugging through, working forward in my life. And well, that hasn't really helped. I've tried talking about it to anyone who will
Okay.
listen. I've spent a lot of time in quiet times in the Word, and that helps some things, but that has not removed the anxiety. Now that I'm thinking about all the things I've tried, it does make me, I don't know, what if this doesn't help me? What if I'm not
Sure.
able to get better?
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
and if we do have that pattern of trying and failing, it can be easy to think that. But what we're
Mhm.
going to do is we're going to work collaboratively together, and we're going to send you out with some homework, maybe just one way you can change your thought process, or one thing you can try and affect during our time apart, and then you're going to bring that back to me. We're going to look at it, we're going to address what worked and what didn't, and then you're going to go try again. So as long as you're willing to try, Laura, we're going to make a good team. So
Okay,
don't
I'll try.
don't
I will
don't get
try.
too caught up.
I
Okay.
will try. It's worth it.
And so the next thing I want to just kind of recap is the downside to how things are now, the anxiety. What kind of behaviors is that anxiety producing? Is it producing irritability or the desire to sleep more, or what does anxiety look like for you?
Well, my poor husband, I just snap at
Okay.
him the minute he comes in the door. I just am so exhausted from being amped up all day. And, so irritability for sure. And my children, I'm just quick to fuss at them. I'm I'm not sleeping well, not eating very well. I just feel amped up.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to operate inside of a relationship when you've got that kind of loud anxiety vying for your attention all the time. Do you feel it in your body anywhere?
Yes, right down just starting at the sternum all the way down the midline and particularly in my stomach.
Okay.
It just feels like something's like clenching.
Oh, yes. All right. And so we know what our goals are, and we're starting to kind of flesh out what this anxiety looks like and feels like. How important is this change for you, Laura? Let's try and identify, because you said that you're worried that your motivation might not get you there, even if you're feeling like you want to change. Let's try and put a number, let's say 1 through 10, on how important this change is for you.
The change to getting this anxiety
From
dealt with. Yes.
correct.
Yes. Oh, 10. 10.
Okay. Okay, that's something I want us to remember. I'm going to write down a 10. If you can make a mental note of your 10. So when it feels hard or when we fail, or when we make a misstep, I want us to remember that 10 that we've decided we want to ascribe to this anxiety and this behavioral change today. Because it might feel hard at times or it might feel hopeless at times, but let's try and hang on to that 10 to motivate us through the times when we're kind of not on top of the mountain and we're still in the valley.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to kind of work through some extremes now, just to, again, continue to lay our groundwork. If things continue the way they are, Laura, what do you think would be the most extreme consequence or the most extreme circumstance that would come about if you
I think,
can't get control of this anxiety?
right. Well, extreme. My husband will leave because I'm a beast to him. My health will decline because I'm not eating or
Mhm.
sleeping. My children will not want to be around me, will not feel loved because I can't relax.
Okay. Yeah, those are definitely extreme. And again, with that catastrophic thinking, it's easy to get there, right? From this kind of behavioral pattern or thinking pattern, it's easy to get there. But I also want to try and go the other way. So what are some of the extremes that can come about if we're able to work through this anxiety and able to get you a more adaptive behavioral thinking pattern?
I think if we're able to get on top of this, my relationship with my husband will just improve because we're
Mm,
sharing these two beautiful children and we have such a good shared common goal. I think health wise, I'll be able to recover well from having two babies within a couple of years and just have a
right.
healthy body. And then very, very importantly, I think my relationship with my daughters will just grow and flourish.
Mm, okay. All right. So let's see. We're going to look back. Do you remember before Piper, before you said with your first daughter, you didn't experience this kind of
Mhm.
anxiety and really that it was the febrile seizures that brought about um, this anxiety in you. Do you remember what things were like before you felt this way?
I do. It was just such a pleasure every day to see to see Hannah grow and change. And, she came into this world as this new little baby and couldn't do anything. And then to see her smile and just all of the little milestones were so amazing. And it began that way with Piper too. But all of a sudden we just
Okay.
had this interruption.
All right, Laura, that's a really good place to start. And thank you for the work you did just processing here and now, because I know that answering these questions can kind of well up some emotions in you. So I just want to thank you for being willing to dive into that with me. Let's start with just addressing one part of this. So do you want to maybe take a thought and let's work on thought stopping, because you said that that catastrophic thinking is maybe what's stirring this and what's getting away from you. So could you give me an example of a thought that creeps in and that you kind of let run away or let go to that catastrophic end?
Yes. Trying to trying to decide which one, as there are many. Um, One thought that I have often is when Piper oversleeps or sleeps longer than I thought she would, I'm just so afraid that something has happened to her. So
Okay,
afraid of that.
that's a real tangible thing that we can work with. So we've got just a few seconds left in our session. So what I would encourage you to do, Laura, before we meet again, I want you, when that thought creeps in, because we both know it will. So first of all, let's expect it. Let's expect it to show up and not be caught off guard when it does. What I hope for you, Laura, is when it does, you can identify it and just pause with it. You are going to take this moment after you identify that thought, maybe even to do some deep breathing and some relaxation, even in your midline, throwing your shoulders back, just to let that thought exist and then to release it. So when our thoughts start to spiral and go to that catastrophic place, it's knocking around in there, right? We're not allowing it to go. So something I like to use is just close your eyes. Imagine that thought as just a cloud, right? The cloud is there and we know it's there, but it's also passing. So let's let that cloud pass. Let's let that thought pass. It can come in, but it can also go out. And my hope for you in stopping that thought and allowing it to move through you is that it doesn't get trapped around in there and control your thinking, is that you can experience it and then send it on its way. Okay. So that's one of the techniques I want to employ here with our cognitive behavioral therapy. And that ideally will take a thought and then influence your behavior response to it. So do you feel comfortable with that as a homework assignment before our next session?
Yeah, I think I can try that.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So go practice that, and then I'm going to want you to report back to me during our next session. Thanks so much for coming in today, Laura.
All right, thanks, Diana. I'll see you next week.
All right, take care. Thank
All right,
you.
all right, bye.
All right, now we're going to.
Yeah. Stretching.
All right.
Okay. Hi, Diana. It's so good to see you again this morning. How are you?
Hi, Laura. I'm okay. I'm feeling okay today. Not amazing. I did run into a little bit of an issue this week that caused me some stress, but we've had a few sessions, so I'm trying to take what you've taught me and address it and not spin out, but it was stressful.
Okay, well, we have had a few sessions and we are planning to get into the really meat of our systematic desensitization today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and address this problem that you talked about. What happened?
Oh, thank you for that. Because I'm the kind of person that can't really just move on to the next thing until I work out what's
That
going
makes
on.
sense.
So, I know that this session with you is the right place for me. And I'm excited about the work we're doing here, but I was trying to share that with my mom on the phone, and she just really, not only did she not support me, but she kind of told me to get over, my thoughts and that I should be able just to turn off what I'm struggling with or ignore it. And it just really set me back. I thought I was doing a lot of good work, and now I'm second guessing that.
Oh, that must have been really difficult. That's a lot for your heart. Tell
Yeah.
me, it, did it cause an argument? Did you just, what was your response?
I shut down. It felt a lot like, in my other relationships where I've just kind of been not given a voice. I don't have that voice to respond. I want to get it. I want to feel more confident when things like that happen, but I went into that conversation feeling so sure about our work here and left it feeling really rattled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. I can understand how that you would have had that response. Let's try an exercise. Maybe I can help you to feel better about this. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we use something sometimes called reframing. And so let's pull out a couple of thoughts that it sounds like you may have been having in this conversation with your mother, and see if we can reframe them a little bit. And so first, let's do an experiment. I will say a thought that I think you were thinking, and we're going to reverse roles a little bit. I want you to
Okay.
play devil's advocate, actually. So I will be you, and I'm going to say a thought that you might have been thinking, and I want you to refute that thought to me. Give me reasons that that
Mhm.
thought might not be true. Okay. So let's try this first thought. My mom does not support me.
I know that my mom does support me. That's something that she's told me since I was little. And even though the support that she offers sometimes doesn't feel like support to me, I do think that she's doing the best she can.
Okay, Great. You did a really good job with that one. Let's try another one. How about I always have to defend myself to anyone I talk to?
Well, that's just true. I mean, I do feel that way. And hold on, okay, I always have to defend myself.
Right.
I don't always have to defend myself because my truth is something that matters to me, and I don't always need to convince everybody else of it.
Okay, good. Good job. That was a little bit trickier. Let's do one
Yes,
more focused on your mom. My mom does not love me.
that is definitely, it feels like a sensitive subject. But I know that that's not true. And I know that's not true because of the way she showed up for me. And again, just like the support, I don't feel like maybe it's in my love language or it's in the way I want to be loved, but I do feel like she's loving me the best she can. Even when she says hurtful things that feel like not love.
Good job. Great job with that. Okay, so the reason we do this is if you can get your mind into someone else's and you can help understand their
Yeah.
motives, it's just easier to really see maybe where they're coming from. For example, if I'm at the grocery store and someone just jumps in front of me in line, tell myself, well, maybe this person just got fired at work, or maybe they just got bad medical news and they just weren't thinking. And that helps me to not be as frustrated with them and assume they were just being a jerk or just that
Yeah.
it was about me. And so looking at the things you told me about your mother, you know, she has shown up for you. She has supported you in ways
Yeah.
that sometimes may not feel like it to you, but you know it's there. And so as you think about your mother, can you think of any reason maybe that she had the response that she did when you talked to her about your therapy?
I think she did not have access to therapy when she was struggling and that she had to gut it out. And I think maybe she was trying to validate her own process and in doing so discredited mine.
Really, that's great. Good job of thinking that through. You know, as you enter into this next week, I know you talk to your mom a lot. You know, just a little tiny piece of homework is maybe when you're interacting with your mother, look for evidence of her care and support that she does show. And just
Okay.
kind of, you know, maybe write down a thing or two that you see and bring it in next week. Um, I think that that might be helpful. Does that sound like that would help
I
you?
like that idea. I really like that idea.
Okay, great. Well, are you ready then to move on to our first session of systematic desensitization?
I'm not excited, but I trust you and I'm ready.
Okay, great. I think you're ready. I think this is going to be very helpful to you. Let me just give you a little bit of a reminder as to where we've been because we've done a lot of work before today. And you know, first of all, I talked to you a lot about your issue. Can you just recap the issue that you came in with originally?
Yes. My issue was I'm coming out of a relationship where I just feel like I was not given a voice and I did not have a say and I was belittled and I just didn't feel like my heart was well cared for.
Yes, good, good job recapping that. And you know, we talked about doing some systematic desensitization because you mentioned that you're going to have to see this guy at this upcoming wedding where you're a
Yes.
bridesmaid and you really have to be there and you know that he will be
Yes.
there.
And
Yes,
I
how does
can't
that make
hide.
you feel?
It makes me sweaty. I know, I'm going to be upfront and I know that there's no way he's not going to see me and that I'm not going to see him. It's going to happen. And so I really just want to have a game plan going into that.
Good, good. Well, then we talked about systematic desensitization, and let me just remind you, you know, I first taught you how to do progressive muscle relaxation, And just so
Yes.
you remember, it's like you squeeze point parts of your hands and then you let them go, and you squeeze your arms and then you let them go, and closing your eyes, and you can go through all the parts of your body. Have you been practicing that?
When I remember, yes.
Okay, good, good. I've seen, we've done it several times in therapy sessions, and I've seen a real improvement with that. So, and another thing you can do is just pick that place that you can be in your
Yes.
head, just your happy
My
place.
happy
What was
place.
that happy
Mhm.
place again? What is your
It's
happy place?
upstate New York at a lake in the Adirondacks.
Oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. Well, we'll be using that a lot in our session today. The other thing that we already did is we developed the anxiety hierarchy. I don't know if you remember,
Right.
but we talked about different scenarios and we ranked them in order of what causes the most anxiety, with obviously the upcoming wedding being the worst one. But down here at the bottom, things as simple as just hearing his name, Joe's name, and conversation, things like that. And so we ranked these in order from easiest to most difficult as far as causing anxiety. And we're going to start down here at this bottom, very bottom place. And we're going to see if we can just kind of get you used to thinking about that scenario and not having it cause anxiety. And when you've mastered that, we go to the next level and we do that. And eventually we work our way up. This will not happen all in this session. We will work
Okay,
as
okay.
Yes, no fears. We will work as slowly or as quickly as your body and your mind are ready for. And so we have plenty of time. The wedding is not for several months still. And I think by then
Okay.
we'll have you ready and equipped to be able to go into the wedding
That's
without
great.
too much
Thank you.
anxiety. All right, are you ready to begin?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I want you to start. Just close your eyes, practice a little bit of that muscle relaxation, and dwell in your mind in that happy place in the Adirondacks where it's beautiful, this peaceful lake, and you are just
Mhm.
completely relaxed. Now, as I begin to have you think of different things, I did want to tell you if we get to a point where you're just experiencing too much anxiety and you need to stop, just raise your hand and I will help, to guide you as to what to do next. So I will not take
Okay,
you
good.
beyond where you're comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So let's just imagine as you're relaxing that you are having a conversation with your friend, and your friend mentions Joe's name in conversation. She mentions that she, talked to him and saw him and maybe bumped into him at a restaurant. And, see if you can imagine this scenario where you're unexpectedly hearing his name and see if you can continue to relax.
Mm.
All right. How are you on a scale of 1 to 100? Where are you with I would say 1 being completely relaxed and 100 being completely tense. Where are you right now on that scale, just thinking of this?
I'm like 20s. This has happened before, so I've encountered it a couple times, and I think that I could deal with that.
Okay, good. And we've established in previous sessions that 20s is a good baseline for you. So
Right.
that's really good. I think that we can go ahead and move on to the next level in the hierarchy. Um, you're scrolling through Instagram and you suddenly see a post that includes Joe. You see his picture, you see him having a good time. Now,
Ew.
breathe and relax and let me know how this is feeling for you.
This one feels tighter, like in my shoulders, but I'm trying to do my muscle techniques and get them loosened again.
Good. You're doing a great job. Your face looks very relaxed. You look as though you're doing okay with this. Where do you think you would be on the scale right now with this scenario?
This one's higher. This one's like maybe 35, 40.
Okay. All right.
Just the
Um,
thought of actually seeing him is different than hearing his name.
yes, that's a really good point. You know what? Let's stop a minute. And I want you to go back to that scene in New York. I want you to sit by that lake and just breathe and relax and let's see where you can See where you can land.
I just felt my face loosen up a little bit.
Excellent. Good job. Okay, let's go ahead and try one more time. Let's picture yourself again, scrolling through Instagram, and up pops Joe's face, same as
Mm-hmm.
before, same as before. And this time I want you to continue relaxing, continue focusing on that Instagram post that you unexpectedly came across, and see if you can, using your relaxation techniques and your muscle relaxation, if you can bring yourself back down into the 20s.
It's definitely work, but
Mhm.
it's better this time than it was last time.
Excellent. You're doing a great job. Take whatever time you need. Let me know when you're feeling pretty relaxed.
I picked up a fishing pole in my happy place, and that helped.
Great. Good thinking.
All right, I feel baseline again.
Excellent. Okay, Diana, you can go ahead and open your eyes now. That was really good work. Great
Thank
work. I could tell that took a lot of work, and I just want to commend you for doing the work. Sometimes it feels
thank
easier
you.
in the moment to just ignore or to just put it off or whatever. But I really see you working hard to get through this, and I think that that's going to be the formula for success with systematic desensitization.
Thank
Let
you.
me give you a little bit of homework with this. I would say about once a day between now and when I see you next, take yourself to that happy place
Okay.
and then go ahead and get to the level that we got to in session with. You are scrolling through Instagram and you see Joe, and work through like you did the very end of this session, getting to a point where you are at baseline again in your calmness, that you're able to be calm and not too anxious. Don't go
All
any
right.
further off the ladder. We don't need to do that. Don't try to do that on your own. It will actually make things much worse. Just
Okay.
this, and that's it. And then I also want to remind you of the homework I gave you with your mom as well. Just really considering
Okay.
how she cares for you. So, do you have any questions before we meet again?
This makes good sense to me, and I like those actionable items. So I'm ready to do some work.
Okay, great. All right, Diana. We'll see you next time. Thanks
Awesome.
so much.
Thank you.
All right.